Hello, this is Jordan, and this video is being recorded on the late evening of Monday, January 3rd, 2022. Thank you for joining me. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have a lot more video content coming this year, so you don't want to miss it. Again, make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And I want to wish everyone a happy new year and a very profitable 2022 and beyond. And with our video analysis, I am intending to help you do that. Now, in this video, I am going to talk about the gold and silver chart that no one follows. And the answer isn't that exciting. I'm just talking about the quarterly chart. If you look at Twitter and other platforms, charting platforms, you see mostly people are posting daily charts, sometimes weekly, occasionally, not occasionally, rarely you'll see a monthly chart, never a quarterly chart. I've only seen a few over on Twitter over the last several years. So anyway, it's the quarterly chart. And the quarterly chart is important because first, it's on a longer time frame. So the weekly chart is more important than the daily. Monthly is more important than the weekly. Quarterly is more important than the monthly. You can see where I'm going. So it applies to a much longer time frame. And the second reason is because you can get a better idea of the trend in the market as far as accumulation and distribution. Are the big money, are they holding something into the end of the quarter, or are they selling it? Is that market failing to hold its gains? And conversely, the same applies to if a market's selling off. Does it put in that nasty candle to the downside, or is it downtrend, losing strength, and you see a bullish hammer? So the things that you see in daily, weekly, monthly charts, they're even more significant in quarterly charts. And so quickly, I just want to look at gold and silver. And, the things that jump out, the one thing that jumps out to me between the two is silver has really significant resistance. I mean, you can call it 27, but 2660 is the level I was looking at, the resistance over the last several quarters. And if you look at 2020 and 2021, those first couple of quarters, you can see silver for 5 consecutive quarters, it was testing 26.27. I mean, it at least traded at that level, but failed to close above it. So that's quite a bit of distribution in silver. And, that level, it goes back to 2011, 2012. So right now, that's going to be a heavy lift for silver. It's going to take some time for silver to make a quarterly close above that area. Let's just say 27 to keep it simple. Now, for gold, what's interesting to me is we know that the Fed is looking to hike rates. The market right now is telling us it's going to be in March or May. I just put out a tweet. I can't recall if it's a 62 or 65% chance of a hike in March, and that's completely changed from a month or two ago. It was much lower than that. So if the Fed were to hike in March, I've been writing about the last couple of months before the Fed starts a hiking cycle. The last 3 times there was a sell-off before the first hike. Of course, that led to a very good rebound. And so with respect to gold in the quarterly chart, I'm thinking, is gold going to be able to hold the gains, or not hold the gains, hold above 1675 if the Fed hikes in March? Will the Fed be able to hold, or not the Fed, will gold be able to hold that level? Because that could be really, really bullish if gold sells off before the hike. But then, after they do the hike, I think the meeting is it's at the end of March. But maybe gold goes below that level. Maybe when they do the hike, it rebounds. It closes the quarter above 1675. So you can catch my thought process here. If gold were to trade below 1675, where that blue line is, but it doesn't close the quarter below that. It never makes a quarterly close below that. I mean, that's a hidden bullish sign for the market. And then you have resistance at 1900. And to be honest, the gold quarterly resistance at 1900, it's not as significant or stiff as silver's resistance around 27. So to me, looking at this chart, it's just my sense that, if and when gold hits 2100 and breaks out, that's what's going to be needed for silver to break above 30. And maybe we need to see gold break above 1900 for silver to break above that resistance at 2660 to 27. So that's what I'm thinking. Last thing, end of the year, you also have a yearly chart, so we could also consider that. I mean, I think that's too much of a time frame. But end of the quarter, we also get monthly charts. And I mean, the monthly chart is also, to me, it can be a lot more instructive than weekly and daily charts. And what we're seeing in gold here is you see the same. There's resistance at 1900, support at 1675, but that 40-month moving average that I've talked about, that's really moving up. I think it moved up almost $14 in the last month. So that's up to 1634 now, and that's rising. I mean, based on my projections, that's rising, roughly $12 to $14 a month. So that moving average that's going to be trading at around 1660 in March. And if you do it on a weekly basis, you're probably looking at 1665, 1670 around the time the Fed is going to execute that first hike, if it happens in March. So isn't that interesting to see this over time, this very significant support level, the 40-month moving average for gold, intersect with the 1675 level. So that's something to keep an eye on. And with respect to silver, the 80-month moving average is what we have there. That's the blue line. That's been very significant historically, just as the 40-month has been for gold. And I've talked about how there is a very significant support target around 1870, and the 80-month is moving close to that. But with the monthly candle chart for silver, we can see the distribution. I mean, a triple top in 2020, 2021. And recently, look at those arrow. We have one arrow one up arrow, the red arrow, beginning of 21. That's support around 24. And look what's happened in 3 of the last 5 months. Silver has been unable to make a monthly close above 24. So that's significant resistance. So that's how gold and silver look at the monthly and quarterly charts. Keep an eye on those for long-term purposes. And, the last thing I'll point out with respect to the quarterly chart, which I forgot to say, if we see gold make a quarterly close above 1900, I mean, that's going to be very significant. That's telling us that gold is going to fairly soon make a new all-time high, because that would be a new all-time high quarterly close. So that's an example of how the quarterly chart can be very significant. And I forgot to mention the same with silver, which is, silver, when it makes a quarterly close above, I want to say 35 or 37, 38, that's going to be, I think, potentially an all-time high quarterly close. So that's what's interesting about looking at the quarterly chart. That's all for this video. Subscribe to the channel. Follow all my work at TheDailyGold.com. Thank you so much. Leave a comment. I look forward to posting another video update for you guys in the days ahead.